It's cooking with Cuisinart. Great recipes from master chefs. Now, one of America's greatest chefs, Hubert Keller, from Fleur de Lis in San Francisco and Las Vegas, the Burger Bar in Las Vegas and St. Louis, and Sleek Steakhouse in St. Louis. And now, today's recipe.
Well, who doesn't like some great spinach lasagna? And I will show you by using actually a food processor how to make it quick, fast, with a great success. So over here I have two cheeses. I have some mozzarella and I have some Parmesan cheese. Now I'm grating those both cheeses. I'm starting with the mozzarella. That's a little bit softer. So I'm starting with that. And by grinding the mozzarella, you push it down very gently, very slowly. And then with the Parmesan cheese, you just have a little bit more pressure on the lid. Okay. So I will now transfer that into a bowl. And of course, when you're grating some mozzarella, I really like to put the mozzarella always nice and chilled in the refrigerator prior to run it to the food processor. It really makes it easier. And so let me just transfer everything into the bowl right there. So now I'm putting the working bowl back and I'm adding the stainless steel blade in it. And I have some ricotta cheese here. So let me put that into the bowl. Once I have that, I have some cooked spinach. That could be either frozen or fresh spinach, cooked, lightly chopped, and then you're squeezing out actually all the moistures by using your hands. So I'm adding the spinach to it. Okay, and then now I'm a little bit of olive oil, a whole egg. I have a nice pinch of salt, a little bit of pepper. I like to finish it with a tiny little touch of nutmeg. Once I have that, I will actually mix that nicely until it gets a nice creamy texture. So that's exactly the stage that I wanted. So now, before I'm actually mixing all those cheeses in there, I will reserve like about half a cup of that cheese that I'm transferring over here. And that's to actually cover up my lasagna at the last moment. So a little bit over here. So now I'm just adding all that cheese back into the bowl. And just not to overwork the cheese, just a few on and offs, and we are ready to build the lasagna. So I put it back there, and just now, a couple of on and offs, I'm pulse the mixture. Okay, so once I have that ready, I will just transfer that paste into the bowl. Okay, so now once I have all those ingredients ready, now I'm starting basically on building up my lasagna right over here. First, I have a cast iron pan, which really works well when you're making lasagna. And then what I will do now, I'm just going to spray the pan very quickly. A little parsley there. And I have some marinara sauce. Of course, you can make your own marinara sauce, but I think you can find some really great flavorful one in the market also. So to make it a little bit easier on you, just pick a great one. And what I'm starting off with, I'm just going to ladle one layer of the marinara sauce. So that's a very easy one, a great start right there. Okay, so once we are there, now we're really going to start on playing with the layers. First of all, I have some basically halfway cooked lasagnas right over here, and I'm putting those down just like that. So we're going to add 3 of those lasagnas. So once I have the third lasagna done, now I'm going to spread a little bit of that cheese, about a third of the cheese, on the pasta. Okay, so it's like a nice creamy texture here. And I'm just going to spread it out a little bit. Then you just use a spatula, probably 2 spatulas, to get it out. Or you can actually just dig in there with your finger and spread it out. That would work also. It's a little bit messy, but if nobody's around at home, might as well you want to use your fingers. So now that I have a layer of the cheese, now comes another generous layer of marinara sauce. So now it's a little bit easier already to spread it out. now comes another layer of lasagna in between. So let's put that down. And then we're just going to continue with another layer of cheese. So like another third of cheese over it. Once the baking pan is in the oven, that cheese, everything is going to melt and mix really into the layers. So let me spread it out. Once I have it almost spread out, of course, now you can even play. If you want to be a little bit adventurous, you can have some leftover of chicken breast, for example, or a little bit of fish that you left over. You can still add a layer, actually, in between the lasagna. And then, now, of course, we're going to continue with the marinara. Or let's say you have some fresh basil in your garden or whatever. Don't be shy by using all these different ingredients. I could put easily a layer of basil leaves in there, or you can really play with different herbs. It's really up to you to be pretty creative and to make a great lasagna. So we're putting now another layer of lasagna. Okay, now I have the third one down. So now comes almost the other part of the cheese that I have left here. We're going to spread that one over. As you can see, it's already getting a little softer, and I can already spread a little bit easier now. So here comes another layer. So obviously you can see we're just playing here with the different layers between the cheese and the marinara sauce and the pasta. So the last thing is now another layer of pasta. Okay, so we have that. And then really now to finish it up, I just put another layer of marinara sauce over it. And this time I'm a little bit more generous. Okay. And again, remember, that's a type of dish that easily can be made ahead of time. You don't have to make it and put them in the oven right away. You can even build it up a day before. You can even actually make it and freeze it. And then what you also can do is actually doubling up the recipe, making 2 pans of that, and stick one in the freezer. You can leave it in there and take it out like the week after. So you basically put yourself to work a little bit, but you have 2 great lasagna at home. So once I have that, let me just grab now the remaining cheese mix that I have here. Now remember, that's Parmesan cheese and mozzarella that I have left. And I'm just going to sprinkle that over the gratin dish. And here we're building a perfect spinach lasagna. Okay. And here we are. Okay, so now we have that one ready. So here I have another little trick actually to keep the cheese from sticking. I have 3 layers of aluminum foil. So 1, 2, 3. I'm going to lay it down, and I make sure I keep the shiny side up, and I spray it lightly with the spray. And then, of course, now I'm going to turn it over and actually cover it up. It also helps baking the lasagna evenly, since the container is cast iron. That's why we're actually tripling up the aluminum foil. So now that I covered up with aluminum foil, I'm going to put that in the oven at 350 degrees for 50 minutes. After 15 minutes, I will remove the gratin, remove the aluminum foil, and then put them back in the oven for 20 minutes until really the lasagna ends up golden brown on top. So here we have a beautiful lasagna, and you see how nice and golden brown and crusty the top is. That was easy to do. And that whole spinach and cheese mix that I put in the center makes it really nice and creamy, thanks to actually the food processor who made it very easy. And I'm sure that all your friends and all your family are just going to have a best time by digging into the great lasagna.